Just to tell you who we are, first of all, and what you should expect from today's session. We are Cyberlite. We work with 7 to 17 years of age, raising their cyber literacy and their AI literacy. We work across 16 countries, sometimes with governments, ensuring that they have a robust cyber education. And then we also work with multi-stakeholder approach, Microsoft, Palo Alto, UOB Bank. These are some of our major clients. And actually, this classroom toolkit we created with Microsoft. So today's session is a workshop. So I hope you have a phone or a computer. If you don't, we can do it together. But it's about really learning what AI is. So this is the place to ask stupid questions, right? It's going back to fundamentals. And what we want to do is ensure you have the tools and the knowledge to teach a child, to be able to explain why we should be worried about it, why we need to get ready for it. So a lot of what I'm presenting to you is what we present to the children themselves. So hopefully it's very digestible and understandable. And we will also ask those questions and give you time to question the points of AI. My first question to everyone is, how many of you use AI right now in your life? Who uses ChatGPT, Meta, right? Quite a few of you, right? Now, if I'm in a classroom, and just some context, Michelle's based in Singapore, I'm based in Bangalore, right? Don't get confused by the accent, I'm very much here. So when we go into a classroom, 99% of children will admit to me they're using AI. That means 100% of children are using AI. Are they doing it constructively? Are they doing it to the best of their merits? Probably not, because teachers are very scared to use it. They are worried, they are concerned about the use of it, and so they just don't do it. So they don't have the tools or the knowledge to understand how it can be helpful. So as it's after lunch, we'll start very easily with a presentation and to see how good we all are with identifying AI. Sorry, my click's not working. No. Okay, I'm going to show you some images and a quick raise of hands, which is AI generated. Sorry, I'm going to struggle with this for a moment. 1 second. It's just me learning. It's because I'm used to a Mac. It's just this one now? Okay. This one? Okay. Which of these do you think is AI generated? A is on my side, or B? Yep, you're right. Was it too fast? Sorry. Okay, I'm slowing down. Which one is AI generated? A or B? Hands up for A. Oh, everyone got a bit less confident. Which one are we saying? Hands. B? B is AI generated? No, she is not. AI is completely false. How you normally tell, and AI is getting better, but the earrings will never match. It's never good with earrings, it's good with faces, and also you become too symmetrical. AI makes everything a little bit too perfect. Let's try again. Which is AI generated? The one which is A to me or B over there? Everyone's getting quieter. So B, correct. And this one? Which one, A or B? A. You can normally tell because the background is quite blurred, but you can also see that our face is cut into two. Now again, I'm telling you this all now. In 6 months' time, it's going to be absolutely perfect, so we're all in trouble. So, which one is AI generated? Oh, everyone's very confident here. Yes, that child looks too perfect, right? So what we're going to go through today is the toolkit we created for teachers to utilize in the classroom. I will speak to you like you're educators, because that's how I'm used to doing it, but use it yourself, right? This is a really good way to learn what everything is and go back and tell people to start utilizing it. As a company now, me and Michelle will not employ anyone who doesn't use AI, because you are unproductive to me. If you're going to spend an hour writing an article when you could have done it in 5 minutes, I don't want to employ you anymore. So it's important we understand that's how the corporate world is thinking, and we ready our children to be in that world. The corporate world doesn't care whether they're doing it authentically. They just want it done. So we've got to toe the line of authentic and reality. So first of all, what is generative AI? How does it work? Now, I'm explaining it to you how I'd explain a 13-year-old. So because I'm saying that because I know some of you are experts in generative AI, so I don't want to be pulled up on that. But generative AI, really how we have to explain it to them is it is generating a result based on patterns it's learnt from large data sets. So it goes out mainly to Google, to YouTube, and to other data that's out there, and it collects the best possible outcome. So it is predicting on a data set what the answer is that you want. Now for children, they have had AI in their lives since they were born. There has been something that has told them the recommendation on YouTube, right? There's a reason that in every country I go to, all babies know Cocomelon, right? Because that's what's been pushed to them. So they've had AI. But now we have these large language models. It is slightly, well, it's not slightly, it's incredibly more intelligent. So let's look at Spotify. Most of our children will know Spotify, so it's a good thing to talk about, or which iTunes you use. What will happen is, where before it will recommend what me as a user is using, my children are also using my Spotify. So I want to listen to, something like Sufi music. My children want to listen to Sabrina Carpenter, and my whole AI is mucked up. Now, generative AI understands there's two of us. It understands it needs to generate different lists for different people, and it has larger data sets, so it understands my 14-year-old child in Bangalore right now. They want to be listening to this viral music from TikTok. So it's very, very intelligent because of the large language models. Now, we also have to explain to children, just because it's a large language model does not make it good. We've all been on YouTube and watched absolute rubbish. We have all been on Google and got the wrong results. Large language models does not make it fact. And that's why your universities or schools are creating their own chatbots to try and make it more authentic and clearer. So we need to be aware that not everything there is true. Now, how should we be using AI? We were just speaking to a professor downstairs in AI, and he said to us, how do you think I should be using it? What should I be doing? We meet so many adults who think AI is cheating. Now that's like saying using the calculator is cheating or the currency converter is cheating. It is not cheating, right? It is actual reality. You cannot take AI away. But we need to be setting the boundaries and the context we use it in. So you need to think of AI as your co-pilot. Now we are all rich enough to have an assistant. AI is your co-pilot, is your assistant that you need to utilize in that manner. So for students, how do they use it? They can summarize extensive notes to key points. Now, if you are a diverse thinker, if you've heard of neurodiversity, ADHD, dyslexic, I'm dyslexic. So when I see a big book, I want to run. I'm like, oh, that's too many words. But now I can put my children's study notes into ChatGPT, and it gives me bullet points. For me, I digest that quicker, and I can help them. Before, I'd be like, Charlotte, I'm not helping you, that's too much. Now I can do that. When my daughter is studying her NOIS, I don't understand the curriculum because I didn't grow up with NOIS or CBSE. I can generate fresh practice questions by telling ChatGPT, my daughter's 14 years old. She's studying module 1 of the NOIS business studies. Can you come up with 15 MCQs? And then I know I'm getting the right thing and I can support her. This is how educators can be supporting and personalizing experiences. That child you grew up with who never listened to the teacher, who was running around the classroom, is because they weren't being taught in the right language. It wasn't resonating with them. Now, the tutor of generative AI can work for them. And the other great thing, if you've tried it on Meta, you can create amazing videos, visuals. For people who aren't so creative, you can very quickly pick up information and put it out there with a visual response. So we need to see AI as your co-pilot. You need to start using it as your assistant. Does anyone have examples of how they use it right now? Anybody want to share how they use it? So one way I just used it is I want to go shopping in Hyderabad because it's great. But I don't know where my Uber is going. So I said, I want to go to West Side. I want to take Michelle. I'm fine. I want to go to West Side, and then I want to go to Mysore Silk, and I want to go to here. Map me a route that gets me there, and tell me which is the biggest West Side. And in 3 seconds, I have the route of Hyderabad and how to get around, right? That would have taken me a lot of Google searches and a lot of blogs. The other way I use it, I'm a very bad chef. I don't like cooking. But on a Sunday, I sometimes cook. So I will write into ChatGPT, I have aloo, I have gobi, and I have a chicken in my fridge. What can I make that will take half an hour? Right? It's always stir-fried rice. But that's how I use it in my daily life. I also use it for work a lot, but that's how it can actually help me. Now, how do we start using it? In the old days, 2 years ago, we used to search for things. We no longer want to tell children to search for things when using ChatGPT. We want to prompt. There's a big difference between searching and prompting. So what we would always do is say, I want to know the history of the Roman Empire. What Google would do is it would give us all the information about Roman Empire based on the IGCSE, IB curriculum, CBSE, NOIS. It was all muddled up. Now I can prompt. I can be more concise in what I want. So we want to be talking to children about prompt engineering. If you have used ChatGPT or Meta and you say, it doesn't really work for me, I don't get the right response, that's because you are searching, you are not prompting. If you prompt concisely, you will get the exact answer you want. So how do you do a good prompt? I will teach you the method. This slide is all available on our website. This whole toolkit is available on our website with me as a video guiding you through. So if you have a classroom, you can just press play, and I'm doing it for the students. So I will send you that, we will give you that link, but you are available to use it again. So you can get this off of here. So this is the prompt I am putting into ChatGPT. Act as my helpful tutor who breaks down complex subjects into easy explanation. I want you to explain the process of photosynthesis to a 14-year-old student to assist with their biology exam preparation. Your answer should be 300 words written in a tone that is friendly and educational. What I've done is, first of all, I've told ChatGPT who I am. I am a helpful tutor. Oh, no, not who I am, who I want it to be. I want you to be a helpful tutor. I want you to be a chef. I want you to be a researcher. Tell them what voice they need to do. So they go out and they find that pattern. What would a tutor say? And they will come up with the right result. Then what's its objective? What am I telling it to do? Explain photosynthesis. And then who for? I've told it I am a 14-year-old. If I tell it I'm a 7-year-old, it will do things differently. This is something I do as well. If something is too complicated for me, I ask it to explain it like a 14-year-old, then I also have understood it, right? So this is something you can do. And then context. What does a tool need to know? Anything else you can give it will give you the right result. So that's something to look at. And boundaries. Set your own direction and limitation. We find that ChatGPT works better if you do it in smaller sizes because you understand it and you move forward. And it can't really do a whole exam essay for you because it becomes very repetitious. So have a look at doing that. So the things we need to do is give it clear instructions, provide context, and experiment. So we can try this ourselves. Does anyone have a phone with them? You got your phones or? Yeah? If you have your phones, you can do this with us. Use Meta AI, or the other thing you should do is download the ChatGPT app. Now I never Google anything. I use ChatGPT app. And if you use that as well, it has a voice function, so you can just talk into it. Okay? So what I would like you to do is we are going to teach children in a classroom. Taylor Swift has taken over the classroom chatter, and it's all your students are talking about. You want to take the opportunity to turn it into a teaching moment. So what we're going to do is start by entering this prompt. Whoop. I want to talk to my students about Taylor Swift. So we can enter that prompt into your Meta or into your ChatGPT app. You can even just put ChatGPT on your browser if you have it. And then just look at the results. If you don't have a phone with you, just stare at someone else's phone. I give you permission. Has everyone got a result? So you can see that result. We haven't given the ChatGPT or Meta any real context, but you have something you can tell them. Now we're going to give them more context. You can talk this in, or you can type it in if you're quick typers. You're all young, so I reckon you can type quickly. Act as a helpful tutor who breaks down complex subjects into easy explanations. I want you to explain how Taylor Swift affects the economy to a 14-year-old student to assist them with the economics homework. Your answer should be 300 words written in the tone that's friendly and educational. Let me break down what I've done there. I've told the chatbot who they need to be. I've given them context of how I want this answered. I want you to act as a helpful tutor. If I say I want to act as a mother, it will give you a very different thing, right? And then who breaks down complex subjects. I'm telling it, I want it to be broken down. I want all those subjects to be thought of as you give me an explanation. And then I want you to overlay the conversation and give it to Taylor Swift for 14-year-olds for economics homework, right? So I've given it a lot more context. Has everyone got the result there? Can you see the difference in when you actually tell more to it? So you need to talk to it in a very, very concise way. Most people at the moment are just typing in, tell me the time or tell me where to go. The more information you give it, the more productive it will be for you. If you are still studying, how many of you are still studying? Yeah? How many of you lose focus? Okay? But if you then have something you're passionate about, explain this really boring subject to me in the style of this, in this type of poem, or in this type of context. Will you read that paragraph? Yes, you will. So you need to start being creative with how you learn. Before, you didn't have a personal tutor. Now you have a personal tutor in your phone. Right? For those who struggle with certain spelling or with reading large context of English or Hindi or whatever language you're in, ask it to break it down for you. It's important. Now, one of the debates we have in the world of education is this good for us? Are our children going to end up being stupid? Are we going to affect the next generation? So when we're looking at education, and if you are an educator, it is your job to protect human agency. What do I mean by that, right? It's a very fancy way of saying we've got to ensure we're still creative, that we're still thinking for ourselves and using critical thinking skills. Education now will not be like, Jalo, can you write a whole paragraph on X? It's like, did you understand that paragraph on X? And as educators, we don't need to see the context of the paragraph so much, because we know the context will sound very good now. But did you critically think through it and understand it? So questioning the output will be really important. I'm going to show you 2 videos, and then we'll have a debate. In the classroom, we have, and we work in Singapore and Australia. They are the best at cyber safety because they have money, right? So each school has money for cyber education. So they put a lot of time and effort in. But every teacher we speak to is scared. They're like, I'm not sure if I should be teaching generative AI. I don't know how to teach it. What can I do? So we're there in these very mature climates. So you can imagine when we go to the Maldives, we work in Bangladesh, we work here in India, there's also a concern. So let's address the concerns. 2 videos, one, the good things, and one, what people are scared of. I hope they work.
There have been a number of shifts in the way we think about computing over the past few decades.
The terminology artificial intelligence has come in and out of favor in the scientific community. Sometimes it's called machine learning.
We tend to call it machine intelligence these days.
Machine learning and research is an exploration. It feels like an intellectual exploration.
AI is a transformational technology that can bring meaningful and positive change to people across the world. It's an effort to build machines that can learn from their environment, experiences, and people, and that can spot patterns and make predictions better than any computer has been able to do, be benefiting people, businesses, and society every day, providing imaginative ways to make daily life easier.
Lavender at 12 o'clock.
Like Lookout, which uses computer vision to help people with low vision or blindness to get things done faster and more easily.
You open it up and you can just start pointing it at things and it will start telling you about the space around you.
Coffee maker at 11 o'clock.
Coffee maker at 11 o'clock.
Coffee maker at 11 o'clock.
Or through creative solutions to societal problems, like fighting climate change.
The government has thousands of people who are measuring the water level, which allows them to know whether the river will overflow and flood, but it doesn't yet allow them to understand exactly what areas are going to be affected. We generate hundreds of thousands of simulations of how the river could possibly behave. We can then send those forecasts to individuals using search, maps, and Android notifications.
In fact, if pursued boldly and responsibly, AI can deliver innovations that are useful and beneficial to people everywhere. Like Google Lens, which lets you search what you see without having to describe it first. This is a ruby-throated hummingbird, but how did it know? Lens uses computer vision and AI to identify products, plants, or landmarks, copy and translate text, or find the best dish on a restaurant menu, all without you having to type anything. And because AI is so good at spotting patterns in images, it can be used in the fight against cancer, making breast cancer screening more accessible, consistent, and faster, or to spot early signs of diabetic retinopathy and prevent avoidable blindness. And because it's always learning, AI can be used to find any number of solutions, helping create more sustainable supply chains, increasing inclusion and equity, fighting misinformation, and breaking down barriers too. Google's AI tools are being used all over the world to help people communicate, whether it's with Translate or Look to Speak, which enables people with a speech or motor impairment to communicate using just their eyes.
Let's try it out and see how it goes.
Let's do this.
Let's do it.
Providing transformational innovation to improve people's lives and meet the challenges of today while building resilience for tomorrow.
Okay, and now the video dark side of AI. So that was nice and fun. Just to get some thoughts out there, how many of you are concerned about AI in the future? Put your hand up if you're worried about it. Great. And how many, and you could be the same people, see that there's potential for AI and you're excited about the future? Oh, less excitement. And when it comes to AI and technology, what are you excited about? Would somebody be willing to share? Yeah? Would you like to share? Yeah?
I'm Gustav Neves, I'm from Hungary, and I'm working with small entrepreneurs in agriculture, and I'm working with learning knowledge. And I think AI is an absolutely fantastic tool for that, because as I imagine, we can collect, okay, we have plenty of knowledge now. And imagine it is a huge library. So actually finding the knowledge you look for is very difficult. And I mean, Google is one, I mean, like the internet search is one possibility, but in internet search, you will find different books suggested to you. But what AI can do is look the whole library as it is, and find different pieces of content and put it together. And I think this is just fantastic. It's a fantastic opportunity.
Yeah.
What my worry is I like walking, walking and traveling and driving, and I'm still quite okay with finding my way around, but I'm much worse than
yeah.
And I met people who have no idea where they are, where to go with their own stuff. And yeah, I have kids, so I try to make them learn how to read a map, a paper map. But it did happen to me that on a paper map I try to,
To zoom in.
it's bigger, you can't see. So it makes me very stupid.
Yeah, I get that.
I'm quite a self-conscious person and I'm aware of this thing. So what happens to those people who were born into this and they are not conscious because this is their whole work? So that's there's a lot of things.
Yeah. Anyone else would like to share? And thank you very much for sharing there. That's real, authentic and true things that we're worried about. Anyone else who's excited or worried?
So I think in context of the India, we see that AI can be used, especially in healthcare, right? For example, where we have little resources, human resources, and our system is almost collapsing at the districts and the block levels where there are not enough doctors and all of that. So somehow in the future, this AI can be used at that level so that the burden which is there at the high of hospitals that can be reduced. So this is something that I see in a very positive way, that in healthcare or where there is already burden, things that can be reduced with the help of AI. Then similarly, adding to what he said, that that once our phone is off and it's not working, then the technology that we are so dependent, then how do we function?
Yeah.
So that's something that brings us back to that part that we're so dependent on that we can't like 10 years back, some people at least used to memorize the phone number.
Yeah.
Now I don't think so anybody.
I don't know my husband's phone number.
Yeah, we don't remember anybody's phone number, that if the phone is lost that we can dial them and call them. So this is the dependency that technology has created, and I think this is one of the very small examples that I've given about remembering the phone number. So that's something that's very scary also.
Absolutely.
The two sides and the two ways.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a really interesting thing. So from where I'm fascinated is when we go into very overprivileged classrooms, so international schools in Singapore. And then I go into a school in the Maldives, and their schools are tiny because they're in a very constricted space. The access to education is now exactly the same. There has been a I can't say the word, democratization, is that right? Democratization of knowledge, right? But the child in the Maldives is so ready to be educated. He's thirsty, he wants to get out. He knows he can upskill his parents, and he wants it. My overprivileged Singaporean, about my children, they have everything. They're not trying hard enough. So now I'm thinking, what will universities and education look like when everybody has a personal tutor who can work for them? So for me, that's very exciting because now everybody is equal in granting of knowledge and support. We always could get the knowledge, but now you can have the personal support to get you there as well. And when it comes to disease, many reasons why we haven't combated a lot of disease is the human thinking of power can't go fast enough. We can't afford a number of researchers. We can't afford to keep working on small diseases that only a small percentage of people have. But if we can start recognizing those patterns, using AI is very exciting, that we could, in our lifetime, and even in the next 5 years, see massive changes on what can be supported. Now, that's all the good stuff. Now, but when we're teaching children, our worry is, have we kept them as independent? Can they learn critical thinking skills? So what we did in this toolkit is we came up with 2 characters. This is Gina. Now, what we wanted to do is show how people were using it and what happened that they had to really think through while utilizing Gen AI. Now, this toolkit is in 8 languages and has gone across the world. So we wanted her to be someone all children could relate to. So Gina is a journalist. She's a teenage advocate. And she is looking at how she can change people's opinions about the environment. She wants to work on sustainability. And Gina is going to start this by writing an authentic article that she can put out there that shines a light on climate change and deep dive into the worlds of facts and stories to make a difference. So what is her investigation? She wants to report about the devastating impact of plastic pollution on sea turtles. She wants to paint a picture that will grip the hearts and minds of a reader and captivate them with her article. Realizing this is a gigantic task, Gina decides to use the power of generative AI to assist her in creating an outline of how to formulate the article. So number one, she didn't ask ChatGPT to write the article, right? Because she wants that authentic approach. She wants facts. She wants it to be hers. She's going to use AI as a co-pilot, as someone to support her. So what she does is she comes up with a prompt. This is what we've just gone through. If you've just come in the room, we were learning how to do good, concise prompts that will help you in your work. And her prompt was, write an outline for a newspaper article that highlights the consequences of plastic pollution on the sea population. So let's try this ourselves. That's very small for me, I can't see it. If you have Meta or you have ChatGPT on your phone, write in the prompt, write an outline for a newspaper article that highlights the consequences of plastic pollution on the sea turtle population. Don't press go yet, because what I want you to do is then choose, do you want it in a professional tone? And maybe do it different to the person next to you. Casual, enthusiastic, informal, funny. And then how do you work best? Would you like to see something in a paragraph? Would you like to see it as an email, ideas, as a blog post? And how long do you want it? Okay, I've changed it slightly to this because I know we're short of time. So if you do that and see what your prompt gives you. And again, for the people who weren't in the room before, when you're using ChatGPT or you're using Meta, you can use Facebook or you can use WhatsApp. Make sure your prompt tells them exactly what you want. Don't leave it wide. Make sure you tell them what you want it to sound like so you get exactly what you want. And work with your brain, right? This is your tool. If you like bullet points, I love bullet points. It's the best thing for me. But if you like something written to you or explained to you like a tutor, how did you think of your best teacher in the world, right? How did they teach you? And put that in that context. Has everyone got their result? Yep. Just going to flip to the next one. You can experiment and reiterate, so copy and paste that prompt and just make some changes and see how the prompt changes with it. And this is what we want to get our children to understand, our teachers to understand, how we can be utilizing AI in a supportive way. Yeah. Yeah. And AI is so clever, you could just probably write, you don't have to write a sentence half the time. You could just write me this outline, professional, email idea, short. You know, it's so quick, it's so fast, it knows what you're thinking. When you're using ChatGPT or Meta, do you say please and thank you? Yeah. Yeah, and you're like, it's, oh, I have done it where I've written, great idea. Thank you. It just shows our human intuition there. Okay, so we could, and as I said, this is written for students. That's why it's discussed with the class. What happened to the results? Did everyone find that it changed? You can see the difference. It's very nuanced. It's very, very good at giving you what you require. So I just want to pause here and sort of say, how can we start using ChatGPT in the classroom? For students, you can create animations, you can create videos, right? There's no reason why we just use textbooks anymore. You can use visual aids. You can ask it, draw me a diagram, show me as a Cocomelon star how to do this. You can make it fun as a parent, as an uncle, aunt. Keep learning yourselves. Like, how can I make this visually fun? Because I'm very bored right now, right? So how do you stay in this? But be careful to see what's been generated and the visual outputs I will go into in a minute and the stereotypes around those. I'll come back to that. So what she has done now, what Gina, let's remember we're with the character. She has come up with an outline. She has created a draft with ChatGPT. Now, this is a mock draft. You wouldn't have got the same. But this is what ChatGPT has told her. What you can see is it has given her lots of facts. Now, one thing I said right at the beginning, remember that ChatGPT, OpenAI, all of these things are learning on large language models. They're going to Google, they're going to YouTube, and they're learning. That means not everything they're learning is true. We need students to understand that it doesn't work very well with facts. You need to critically think through and source it. Because just because it's been said 100 times does not mean it's true. It's a pattern of false patterns appear all of the time. So in this situation, what's happened with Gina is she's gone through and looked at the facts, and actually only 2 of them are correct. The third one is false. Can you guess which one is the false one? I don't think I even remember what the false one is. Do you remember, Michelle? The false one is the first one. But we wouldn't know that unless we checked and sourced that. So that's really important. So the one thing we want our children and we want you to know is that ChatGPT, large language models, all of this, it fabricates. So it will fabricate and it will hallucinate, right? Because let's remember, AI cannot think. It's not a thinking model. The fact me and you are saying thank you, hello, how are you doing? It doesn't care, right? It is a machine. So as a machine, it doesn't ever say, I don't know. Rarely will it ever say, it's like my husband. I mean, he knows everything. So very similarly, so is AI. It will just come up with, actually my husband does this as well. He'll just come up with something. I'll be like, that doesn't sound true. You do that. Yeah. About my husband, about fabrications.
I mean, I was told that we should write things that there's a prompt you can say if you want to make sure that the answer is true. What's the prompt?
Okay, so how I would prompt it is it will come up because if I'm writing something and I want the source, I will tell it, please give me the links to every source, and then I will go and click on that link and check the source. But you have to ask it where it got its information from, right? And then it will just tell you that. So that's the easiest way around it. Or when it comes to maths, because I do maths with my daughter on it, and it does get it wrong. So I will always say, can you correct your mistakes? And then it's gone to look for a mistake, and it will either be like, I cannot find a mistake, or it'll be like, yes, I have a mistake. So again, it's an assistant. So if you had an assistant and you want to go and check if your assistant's work is good, you have to look at that. So we have to look at the fabrication or the hallucination. So it will always try and give you the best possible outcome, and that's why it hallucinates. This may change in the next year. It may not hallucinate at all. I'm just going to flip through this because we just did this. And the other thing we need to be really aware of, and in the case of Gina, we go into more detail about when she's talking to people and interviewing people, that she understands one of the biggest things is online privacy. Now, what did we just learn? When we put information into the internet, it becomes part of the training model, right? Now, if as a healthcare provider, I'm pushing in my patient's notes, or I'm putting in my children's information, and for teachers, if I'm putting in all my students' data, we are being told that they are not training on that information. But it doesn't mean someone outside is not trying to chart, or third-party people are not coming in and looking at that information. We've already seen court cases where Samsung has gone after one of their own staff because they've put in all the proprietary code into the chatbot and it's just gone out there, right? So a lot of companies won't let people use ChatGPT and AI because they're terrified of all their proprietary information going out. I heard a very interesting thing the other day about how now with entrepreneurs, Michelle was telling me, being first to market is not good Because what happens is, if I'm second to market, I can use ChatGPT to understand what your strategy was, which means I've got your strategy and I can do it again. So sometimes you're doing the work and generative AI is learning all of that and then it's kicking it out again. So we need to be aware of what we are putting into it and that we are ensuring we are staying incredibly safe when we're utilizing it. So what Gina does next, let's come back to Gina. She wants to put a picture with the actual product with her journalism as well. She knows that pictures are exciting and they will achieve more. And so she goes over to create visuals. Now, one of the most powerful things about AI is the ability not to just work in text, but also to use in video and to use photos as well. So let's have a look at Gina's prompt. A scientist holding a plastic bottle with the ocean in the background. So this is the prompt she's given. You can put it into Meta yourself if you want to. And this is what she gets. This is her first attempt. What is the problem with her first attempt? It is a white man. Yeah, okay. Now what you'll find if you go to Meta right now and give me a picture of a doctor, even sitting in India, where we are surrounded by millions of doctors, you'll still get a white man, right? That is one of the biggest issues we have, especially this side of the world, with AI. There is bias baked into AI, right? And something we need to be really aware of if our children are using it. Because if you look at the patterns on the internet, it is not reflective of real life. The belief system is your judge is white, right? Your doctor is white, your lawyers are white. It is not true, right? Data shows it's not true. And that just shows the problem we have with AI. Particularly in India, we need to tell our children it's bias. Why is it bias? Because much of the code, much of the information has been created in the West, in Silicon Valley, right? So they are not reflective of us. So that's one thing. And the internet is biased. I'll just show you this video, and it shows you in more clarity what I mean.
This is why you should avoid mixing Barbie with biased AI image generators. What does a typical prisoner look like? What about a lawyer, a nurse, a drug dealer? What about a fast food worker, a cleaner, a terrorist, or a CEO? These are all images created by an artificial intelligence image generator called Midjourney, which creates unique images based off of simple word prompts. These AI image generators have exploded in popularity thanks to their impressive results and ease of use. Within a few years, as much as 90% of the images on the internet could be artificially generated. Given that generative AI will have a huge impact in shaping our visual landscape, it's important to understand that the reality it presents can often be distorted, where harmful biases relating to gender, race, age, and skin colour can be more exaggerated and more extreme than in the real world. Leonardo Nicoletti and Dina Bass at Bloomberg Technology generated and analysed more than 5,000 images created by Stable Diffusion. They prompted it to generate portraits of workers in different professions and sorted the images according to skin tone and perceived gender. They found that higher paying professions like CEO, lawyer, and politician were dominated by lighter skin tones, while subjects with darker skin tones were more commonly associated with lower income jobs like dishwasher, janitor, and fast food worker. A similar story emerged when categorising by gender, with higher income jobs such as doctors, CEOs, and engineers being predominantly represented by men, whilst professions like cashier, social worker, and housekeeper were mostly represented by women. These racial and gender biases were found to be stronger than the reality of what was recorded in the US Bureau of Labor Statistics. For instance, women make up 39% of doctors in the US, but only appeared in 7% of the images. These exaggerated biases that AI systems create are known as representational harms. These are harms which degrade certain social groups by reinforcing the status quo or by amplifying stereotypes. A particularly extreme example was created when BuzzFeed published an article of AI-generated Barbies from different countries around the world. The Barbies from Latin America were all presented as fair-skinned, perpetuating a form of discrimination known as colorism, where lighter skin tones are favoured over darker ones. The Barbie from Germany was dressed in clothes reminiscent of an SS Nazi uniform, and the Barbie from South Sudan was depicted holding a rifle by her side.
There's a longer form of that video online. I'd recommend you watch that. But you can just see where we need to have that conversation when we see it. As I said, if you have your WhatsApp, You type in picture of a doctor, picture of a nurse, you'll see it happening right now, and that's something that hasn't been corrected. Google did try and correct it, and I don't know if you saw what Gemini did, but Gemini went completely in the wrong direction. I think I have a video to show you this. It's quite short.
Google is under fire this week after its Gemini AI platform has been accused of rewriting history. The platform is meant to create realistic images based on users' descriptions, but it's gone a little wrong. This image of the founding fathers, generated by Gemini, has been doing the rounds online. Here is the AI trying to generate a picture of the Pope. And strangest of all, a social media user gave the prompt 1943 German soldier. Here's what Gemini came up with. Now, these are just a few of the examples making the rounds on the internet. And as you can imagine, Google has copped enormous backlash for pushing wokery. Google promised to swiftly rectify the situation, eventually suspending it. But some say the damage is already done.
So you can see how AI can rewrite our history, right? And maybe not in the right way either. So we need to keep an eye on what it believes history is. History also have cultural context, right? So how we may talk about a space in history, I'm British. How we talk about our history is very different to how people in India would talk about our history, right? So we have to think about who has the power and who has the ear. And I really push everyone here to go into AI so we have more Indian voices in the mix and we don't leave it to being biased. So we're going back to Gina. And so what she does is she reiterates and experiments. It's very important when you're using AI, these two words, reiterate and experiment. If it doesn't work for you the first time, you do it again the second time. You are training your own AI and yourselves. Using these products is a skill. You need to keep doing it, and then you get exactly what you're looking for. So she says a close-up shot of a hand holding a plastic bottle. This is what she gets this time, and she doesn't think that's very exciting. So she goes again, and that's why we talk about reiteration and experimentation. And the third time, she gets it right. The reason we show it 3 times is to show children, don't give up, keep going, and then you'll get exactly what you want. So let's try it ourselves. Let's all become artists. And we do recommend Image Creator, but in a context like this, again, go to Meta, go to your ChatGPT app, and enter the prompt sea turtles, and see what images that you get from that. And then again, you can reiterate an experiment. This is an example, swimming gracefully in a vibrant coral reef, but add your own. Experiment what you can do with a sea turtle. And then try something which I love to do, is now ask it what style you want, right? You can make any picture you like, right? So now say, do it in the style of Van Gogh. Do it in the style of pop art or minimalist, and see the different types of images you get. Dive deeper and you'll see that there's some really exciting images that you can try. Has everyone tried that, if you have a phone? Yeah? And you'll see the reiteration and the experimentation. Okay, we're drawing to the end of this talk. The one last thing I want to talk to you about, if we're talking about our children, the other thing we need to worry about is people's mental health. It is incredibly difficult for a child to understand that these aren't real people. One of the worrying things we have is they are creating more relationships with AI than real people in the real world. We already 2 weeks ago had a suicide when somebody wanted to be with their AI companion and not in the real world because they felt closer. And I always, my worry now is, will my child want to date someone who's strange to me, who they meet on Tinder, or do I want them to be at home talking to their AI companion who says exactly what they want to hear? Now that's the problem with parenting today. That's our problem. Are they going to marry an AI or that really crazy boy down the road? So it's a really new world. We need them to know, and I don't think everyone gets it, AI cannot think, right? It cannot think. It is only working on pattern and what it thinks the outcome should be. It is hard to notice that. 60% of influencers on Instagram are supposed to be, by 2030, completely developed by AI, right? The music our children are listening to on Spotify, a lot of the playlists are now completely AI generated. They need to identify what's real and what is not real and not think they can have a relationship with these items. Already, obviously in Japan, people are getting married to their AI. We have seen people create AI companions of their dead loved ones. So if you have enough data of your loved one, you have enough voice notes, people have created chatbots of them. Then they realized this one app, this was very dangerous, and they shut down the app. And then all these people grieved again because they lost their partners or their husbands again. So we need to see where this relationship with AI is going, and we need to be very careful. We keep telling children it is not a thinking tool. Now, Facebook did want to have a chatbot there, which was Kylie Jenner, and you could be best friends with Kylie Jenner. I think Kylie Jenner worked out she might get stalked, so she stopped it. But these things are being thought of, and we've got to be aware of them. Now, we will end today with any questions, and if you would like the toolkit and to take it into your communities, Michelle will just upload it to show you the links of that. Feel free to utilize that. Now, Cyberlite, a lot of our programs are funded. We are now in India bringing our cyber safety programs to school in India. If you have a school who would like to work with us, who would like to raise your cyber education, it is a free program that we're offering to look at how we can get cyber maturity up in all areas of society. Do come and tell me if it's your local school, the school you went to. I just need their number and I can harass them. So, and if you have any questions, please do ask me. I'm very happy to help. Anything? Oh, yes. Okay, while we're here, this is our website. And we, off cyberlite.org, we have free lesson plans. We try and make everything free as possible. Even though we are not an NGO, we are a profit company, but we go out of our way. So we have safety lesson plans, and if you click into that, you can see lesson plans for all age groups on those things we think all children should be aware of. So that includes phishing or online relationships, how to stay safe online. So go ahead and have a look at that. We do the same with generative AI as well. Lots of lesson plans there. Under that as well, we have the classroom toolkit. You can click onto that, and you can download the classroom toolkit somewhere around here. Yeah. And it has the teacher guide, so you know how to teach it. And then there's lots of videos of me presenting it. You can watch me all over again. So any questions? Great, that means I answered them all, and we're all fine with AI now. Fabulous. Well, thank you very much for attending, and we'll see you soon.